Hello and welcome to Faeria's Pandora Draft Breakdown. In this video I will draft the Pandora deck and guide you through my card choices. Hopefully it'll help you become a better drafter and improve your Pandora game. Let's see what colours we are given. Yellow, green and blue. So no red cards will be displayed now for us to pick. We have to pick from the colours we're given. Probably yellow is going to be one of the stronger colors to go for, but blue could be interesting. And of course green is a great color to complement dual color strategies. So looking at our opener, we have Village Elder, 2 Faeria, last words, draw a card, a 1/1. So this guy could be a good collector. A Rebel Glider, can't harvest, Flying Dash 2 could be good for an aggro deck if we decide to go down that route, but we're going to need to find aggro cards along the way. Tax Collector, not too interested in this guy. I think he's a little better than Village Elder as a collector because he has 4 health. Ancient Beastmaster has great synergies with 5 life creatures, but we currently don't have any. And then we have Sturdy Shell, which is probably the best card out of all of these, but it does mean we might have to commit to blue. So yeah, let's take the Sturdy Shell because it's just so good. So punishment, some removal. That's good. As a blue color strategy right now, we don't have access to any removal outside of the neutral cards, and punishment could be a good shout. Mace Man, 4/4 for 4 Faeria, just a very solid stat line. So this could be a good pick as well. Sagami Warrior is a great green creature, but we're currently on the blue path, so we're going to avoid this. Lore Thief is a bit of card draw. Not too interested in card draw at the moment. And Soul Pact if we want to go into yellow. I think it's a choice between Punishment and Mace Man. I think Punishment is going to be the best pick, because Punishment does affect treasures. So this could be some good removal. So no blue cards this time, so it's given us the option to go into green or into yellow or just go into neutral. Now, I'm not a big fan of these yellow cards. They're quite aggressive, especially the Templar. Bloom Sprite could be handy if we had it, say, in combo with Demon Wrangler. These two cards go together really well in a sacrifice style deck, but that's not what we're building. So I think an Imperial Guard's probably the best pick here, just as a Faeria collector, and we'll see if we get something better in our next line of cards. So Lore Thief shows up again. Shimmering Statue, Taunt Production, gain 1 life. Could be handy, but straight away I'm looking at this card because it has great synergies with the Sturdy Shell. Going to be able to turn into a 5/5 aquatic creature, and we draw a card from it, so enchantment seems pretty good right now. So a lot of events here, which could be handy. Triton Banquet definitely handy. This is not too good. We're not playing green. I'm not a big fan of Spirit of Rebirth anyway, and again with Wind Wisp, and again with Triton Sanctuary. So these cards I don't like too much. This could get value in Pandora, but we're not building green just yet, so I don't want to commit to it. This could also gain value as well, but you need to collect at least 3 Faeria for it to become worthwhile. In Pandora, it's probably a little better because removal's so tough. But Banquet gives our cards a lot of mobility and can offer board control. So board control's much more important to me at this point. Another enchantment, which could be very handy. A Falcon Dive, again removal. So we've got 2 good picks here for blue already. Queen's Favorite could be quite a sturdy gatherer. Ruby Fish is not a bad gatherer as well, just costs 1 Faeria, 1 lake. And Disciple has great event synergies, and we already have 3 events, but we need to pick up more events later. I'm going to lean towards the Falcon Dive here, just because a little bit more removal for blue is not bad at all. Some great picks here. Elder, good collector. Yak, not too great, but could be a good collector. Queen's Assassin has Death Touch. This could take out a big threat later on. Could be very handy. Mace Man, which I've talked about, just a very solid stat line. But Triton Warrior does the exact same thing, but gets jump. I'm going to lean towards Triton Warrior. Just because he has jump and he's blue and we're playing blue. So it makes a lot of sense. Ooh, okay. So Campfire is very handy, and the Outland Ranger could be very handy as well. So our deck is kind of leaning towards a mid-range strategy right now. So Library costs a lot of lakes. Might not want to produce that many lakes if we're going down mid-range, so probably not a good pick. Sanctuary is not as good as Outland Ranger, and we're not committing to yellow at this point, so Outland Ranger gets my vote. Another Sturdy Shell. Again, another good collector. We need another enchantment to make it really good. So, I don't know. We already have a bunch of good harvesters, to be honest. I quite like the Queen's Assassin. Let's get a bit of Death Touch in the mix in case we have to take on like a big green creature and we don't find any transform effects during this draft. Ooh, Dream Reaver. A lot of lakes. A Royal Judge. Not bad, actually. Gives us a lot of utility. Could get a Safeguard or Punishment. A Triton Chef giving us another Banquet. We already have a Banquet. We already have a Punishment. But Judge does give us Safeguard. That could be very useful. I don't think we'd ever get to 7 lakes with this deck. So Dream Reaver doesn't seem like a good pick. And of course, we're never going to get 5 deserts. So Desert Twitter's not even on the table right now. It's between these two. This acts as a good Faeria Harvester as well. It's cheap. I'm going to take the utility of Royal Judge. Let's try him out. Alright, so we're on to our first treasure. Urn of Gabria, draw 2 cards and gain 2 Faeria. Gives us hand advantage and Faeria advantage for no cost. Wheel of Chaos is a good utility. Destroy 2 unoccupied lands. Destroy a creature with 5 attack or less or gain 7 life. So it has a bit of land destruction, a bit of removal, and a bit of life gain depending on what you want. And then so there's the Hammer of Destruction. Deal 5 damage, shuffle the hammer into your deck. This is by far my favorite. This is a really good card, but this is my favorite because again we're playing blue. Don't have a lot of removal, and this could be a reoccurring source of damage for us, especially when we're going down the mid-range line. Well, we have 2 really good choices here. Battletoads and Sunken Tower. Spellwheel's not bad. You know, it gives us extra cards to play with, but because they're random, we don't get to control what gets picked, and we could just get stuff that we can't play. Battletoads is really solid. 2 frogs at 2/2 with jump. So they have mobility, they harvest Faeria really well. Sunken Tower is great for shifting our creatures into offensive or defensive position or moving opponents' land out the way. But Battletoads is just too good to pass up here, so we're going to take the Toads. Oh, the game just wants us to play more frogs. Okay, we're going to take Battletoads again. It's a bit of a no-brainer. So Lore Thief is the only blue. We have a lot of neutrals. Campfire we're getting from the Outland Ranger. I'd rather just have Outland Rangers than just Campfires on their own, because we get the creature and we get the card. Queen's Favorite with the Campfire could be quite good, and the Banquet as well. So that could work out quite nicely. Silent Warrior, not really that good. 3/6 with no no abilities. Lore Thief's card draw. Do we need card draw? I'm going to go for the Queen's Favorite. I think we have some good synergies with the Banquet and the Campfire. Could help us clear a creature and then stick around after the protection's been popped. Oh, wow. Okay, we have 3 really good picks now. So Sturdy Shell again, good collector. Prophet of the Tides gives us some mobility. Tyrannax is just a solid 5-cost creature. Oh, it's really hard. And it has synergies with enchantment as well. I would say Tyrannax here. Hopefully we'll pick up some mobility cards later on when we have a stronger core of mid-range creatures. Freedom Fighter, not a big fan. Lore Thief again, not too interested. This could be good. We could have a line where we play Outland Ranger, Campfire, then have a Faeria Spear and get a 3/2 down. So this could give good tempo. So I think Darkstalker is the pick here. Alright, so Frogify is #1 pick. We need some transform effects to be able to transform any big creatures that show up. Court Jester is pretty decent. I quite like Court Jester. Doubles up as a harvester, empowers one of the creatures in hand. Wisdom, not too interested in card draw. We don't have any deserts, so these two cards make no sense to us. So Frogify is just insta-pick there. So this is probably one of the worst selections we've had so far. Steamforge. I think Steamforge is probably the best. Could help out, could kind of extend the reach of our creatures, some of the smaller guys, so they can clear up the curve. Tax Collector we've already talked about. I'm not too interested in him. Stormspawn's just way too pricey, and we don't have the Failed Experiment combo or Feed the Forest to really get any value out of it. So I'm going to say Steamforge. Oh, he's back! The Tax Collector, he's back again! And the Darkstalker. But Humbling Visions is a bit like Frogify. It's kind of a cheaper version where you halve the attack and life rendered up of a creature. So it's kind of a bit like a transform effect. It can work out in very specific situations, but it's the closest thing to a transform we're going to have. So I think, yeah, Humbling Visions is definitely the pick here. Ooh, Snowstorm Lance is pretty good, and Farm Boy is pretty good too. How many events do we have? We have 1, 2 from the Outland, 3, 4 from the Judge, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have a lot of events, so Snowstorm Lancer could be very powerful. Farm Boy is a good pickup as well. 1 Faeria, get a 1/1 down. It's going to start harvesting at the start of the game if you pick it up when you open in hand, and you're going to get a lot of value from this. But Snowstorm Lancer has a lot of reach with the event synergy, so we're going to take the Lancer. Battletoads are just so good, but Ninja Toad could be a good shout as well. Axe's removal, the haste allowing us to basically deal 3 damage to something in range. We already have 2 sets of Battletoads, but these are good comeback cards. If you're ever behind on board, you can just summon 2 Battletoads, and if they live, there's a good chance they're going to collect some Faeria for you and bring you back into the game. But like I said, we already have 2. I'm going to go for Battletoads again. I like Ninja Toad, but I think I'd rather have reliable Faeria harvesters. And another thing to consider with Pandora, actually, is the wells do close, and you get like a flat 6 Faeria per turn once Pandora opens. So actually, perhaps Ninja Toad's a little better. Let's take Ninja Toad for a bit of flexibility. Maybe that little final push we need to finish the game off. Alright, another treasure. Okay, so I'm going to just talk quickly about this card here, Hammer of Destruction, and Void Guardian. So what you can do, there's a little tactic for this card and Hammer of Destruction. If you have Hammer of Destruction in your hand and you play Void Guardian, it destroys your deck, and then you use Hammer of Destruction, and then Hammer of Destruction goes back to your deck. And then that's the only card you have left in your deck, and every time you use it, you put it back into your deck. So your draws for the rest of the game are 5 damage, just flat out. You just get 5 damage every time. That is very powerful. It's a very powerful combo. You can kill an opponent from 20 life in 4 turns, and you have a 9/9 on board they have to deal with. Jin's Lamp is pretty cool as well. Add 3 random cards of a color of your choice. They all cost 3 less, so a good way to get more options to stay in the game. Ocarina has some fun uses, you know, getting an extra turn. Can set up some great lethals if you have a creature up the top near your opponent's orb. You can go for a swing, make your plays, play Ocarina, get an extra turn, maybe finish them off. So, if we're really, really cheeky, we could go for the Void Guardian combo with Hammer of Destruction. Jin's Lamp is looking like the safer pick, but Void Guardian is looking like the cheesy pick. And we want to get 9 wins with this deck. So it's just, if it works, it's really powerful. I'm going to go for the lamp, I think, though, because if I don't pick up these two together, like, if this becomes my first treasure that I gain once Pandora opens, I'm not going to be able to play it until Hammer of Destruction comes out, and then my opponent could respond with a good treasure. So let's go for Jin's lamp. Alright, I can see a great card straight away. Queen's Guard has excellent synergies with Gabriel's enchantment. A solid 6-drop gives us Faeria on combat. Command is not too bad, but we don't really have any 7 costs, so he will never get buffed and be able to fly. Wonder Monk is still a pretty good pick, but I quite like the Queen's Guard because we do need some top end stuff. So yeah, let's take the Queen's Guard. More removal. Safeguard, well, that's the job for the Royal Judge, giving us one of these. We already have a punishment, so I would say we take another punishment here. Just stock up on removal. Now, Aurora's Disciple is now a really good pick because we have so many events in this deck. So yeah, I'll take Disciple. He may be able to snowball out of control. Hold the Line, event synergy to go with a Snowstorm Lancer, and the Disciple gives us 2 more creatures as well. Diver is a good earlier collective game in your opening hand. You can put a lake in front of you, and then you can just jump to a well, and then on the following turn, he gets to double collect with the jump mechanic again. Prophet of the Tides could open up some good clears for us. I'm leaning towards the Prophet. Water Elemental, good collector, gives us lakes, but lakes are not really a concern for us. So I'm going to take the Prophet, just so we can get our creatures into better positions. So the obvious pick here is the Herald, because it has a lot of synergies with our 5 health creatures. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we only have 4, but at 6 Faeria for a 5/6, that's a really good stat line for 6 Faeria, and it's just another bulky creature that we can take. So yeah, let's take the Ancient Herald. Oh, not very good picks at all here for us. This is probably the worst selection we've had so far. I'm just trying to see if we have any synergies. Doesn't look like it. I've seen a Failed Experiment could squeeze in somewhere, and this would just be a dead card. Its Failed Experiment might get some synergies with the Jin's Lamp. The campfire is not really worth it. Could do it with a heal, I suppose, if we need 2 health. We don't have the Faeria. I don't want to take the Dream Reaver just because I don't feel that we'll ever build 7 lakes with this deck. So let's go for the Failed Experiment, just in case the Jin's Lamp picks up something we can play, like a Storm Spawn, or maybe a Lore Thief, something like that. So we already have Ninja Toad. We're not playing green, we're not playing yellow. Enchantress has great synergies with the deck, which we've already talked about with Gabriel Enchantment. So getting another enchantment card is really good. Mochi, not many 7 costs, so not going to have much synergies. Tax Collector has good enchantment synergy, to be fair. Walking Fortress, just too pricey. Water Elemental can extend our lakes and can jump. Could be handy. I'm probably going to lean towards the Tax Collector, just because of the enchantment synergies. But then again, I feel Water Elemental's just a better stat line on its own, and that's probably more important. So let's take the Water Elemental. And none of these neutral cards are that appealing. Spellworld does extend our hand and has synergies with the Snowstorm Lancer and the Aurora's Disciple there, so Spellworld's pretty good. Battletoads, and now we're on our last treasure, and wow, we have some powerful ones. Dancing Blade, flying jump at the end of the turn, deal 3 damage to all adjacent creatures, just slam him in the middle of a pack of small creatures and it'll deal some damage. Dark Crystal is incredibly powerful. Drain 4 life from your opponent, deal 3 damage to all enemy creatures, and draw 2 cards. Very, very powerful. Magda's Rose, gain control of an enemy creature. This is one of the more fun ones. But Dark Crystal is just too good to pass up. We already have a lot of removal for a blue deck. So Dark Crystal is going to be my choice. Area of effect damage, heal, card draw. Can't ask for much more. Alright, so that is the draft there. We've gone down the blue line. We started off with a couple of neutrals. Then we saw the power of Sturdy Shell enchantment, picked those 2 up. We picked up some more mid-range bodies with some Battletoads to give us some board presence. And then we were lucky to find the hammer, more removal on the Dark Crystal as well. Extending our hands with Jin's Lamp and the Spell Whirl. The worst card we picked up was probably Failed Experiment. Might find some synergies for it. Prophet of the Tides works pretty well with it. Jin's Lamp might give us some stuff, or Spell Whirl, so we may be able to find some use for it. So that is an example of a draft. I hope my thought process has helped you. So we'll take this deck for a spin and see how it does.